Hi everyone, this is Taylor
Mm,
and Bridget. How are you, Taylor, in Huntsville, Alabama today?
I'm great. How are you in
Good.
Canada today?
Well, today is nice and finally the heat wave is abated a little bit, so it's more like
Mm,
Canada than the south of the
yes.
United States, except for the smoke and the haze from all those wildfires, those once in 100-year events that keep happening twice a year. Yeah. We
Right,
got
yes, that
those.
is.
Yeah. So tell me, first of all, that's cool. What's behind you? Tell me what that's about.
So this is the newest installation at Low Mill here in Huntsville, Alabama. It's up on the third floor east.
Uh-huh.
And it's a collaborative with Aaron Kilgore, Liza Jane Ritchie, Stephanie Gonish, I believe is how you spell her name. And it's the queer and the odd. So
Oh, I like it.
it's a history of the struggles that the queers have faced, and it's all about being here now and being who you are and being a safe space for other people, and
Good. So
it's amazing.
I can't see the last line. So it's in the name of those who came before me. I pledge to be brave, to be true to myself, to fight like hell,
Fight
and now the rest for
for
equality.
equality.
Okay,
So that's
good. And we,
that's
yeah,
the quote from Stonewall.
I see. Yes.
And what Aaron Kilgore has done behind me, and it, we're just getting a sneak peek because it doesn't open until tomorrow. But the photography that's woven into this intricate red, almost spider webbing or string art, are all vintage photographs of homosexuals, queers, cross dressers, old queer establishments, and it links them all together in this red, but it goes all the way across the gallery. It's
Oh, wow.
amazing. So it's an interconnection. It's a statement, I think, to HIV and what we
Mm,
learned um, through ignorance and prejudice,
mm,
instead of coming together immediately to really to learn, have factual information. But and I think that's still so relevant today because we take um, just the fear and we run with it instead of
hmm.
stopping, pausing. Let's get our hands around this. Let's understand it as a community or a country or a world, and let's try to make this better. Try to get our hands on it and around it. So they've just done an amazing job in this space, and I will
Mm.
get you some pictures once it's open for the whole
Yes,
thing
yes. And I
because
look forward to seeing it in person.
yes, because
Mm-hmm.
it'll be up through, I believe this runs through September the 20th.
Okay. Oh,
So,
I will miss it. Anyway, that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I'll
but anyway,
rely
I'll
on your
get you,
pictures. Yeah.
yes, I'll get you lots of pictures because I'm so proud. Aaron is my cousin, and
Mm-hmm.
he is, I have to brag on him for a minute. Is 28 years old and then is already an established artist here in
Good
Low
for
Mill,
him.
which
Yeah.
everybody knows is the largest privately owned art complex in the United States. And to be exhibiting up here is, it's quite a big deal. I think
Mm-hmm.
we take it for granted because we're here every day. It's here in Huntsville, it just becomes part of the routine. But to
Mm-hmm.
get a gallery in these spaces is a big deal. So, yay
Yeah.
for these guys.
Yeah. And it's so needed right now. I remember when the Dobbs decision in the Supreme Court came out over 2 years ago now, undoing Roe v. Wade and the right to
Mm,
abortion. We talked about it here in Canadian media, and I remember being on television here in Ottawa saying, watch out, gay rights are coming next. And you see right now that, I mean, not everyone in MAGA feels that way, but enough for them to have it be a
mhm.
problem coming after marriage equality. And then, what's next? Pushing people back into their closet? Like, what is what is going on, right? So we really do need,
It's
yeah,
yes,
it's
yes,
yeah,
to all the things,
transgender, yeah,
yes.
to all the things. So transgender rights, queer rights, and to be it can make such a difference, for instance, to a child or a teenager who is discovering things about themselves that, they're not sure about. They're questioning who they are. They're questioning their gender orientation, their gender identity, how they identify themselves, whether
Yes.
or not they may be trans. And, oftentimes, I mean, it's hard enough to be a teenager, for crying out loud. Like, if on top of all of that, you're asking questions about, I like boys more than girls, and is that okay? Or am I crazy? Is this wrong? Is there something wrong with me? To just for these kids to have one person who will
One.
listen to them and say, "You're fine. You're not wrong. You have those questions. Maybe you require some counseling. Maybe you need some help. I don't know, but there's nothing wrong with you. You're a beautiful person. You're perfect just the way you are, and you just need to figure out how you go through life, basically, like anybody
Absolutely.
else. And it can make the difference between that person living and not living. And just for that, it is important. And I mean, I'm here. Like, I wear my brace. Like, I'm always there as I want to be that safe person for anyone who might need it. And I want to encourage other people, if you feel the way I do, be that
Yes.
person, please.
And I don't know where I heard this along my journey in life, but it was to the extent of be the person that you needed
Hmm.
growing up, that
Yes.
you needed to be. And, it's just, um, you can't be there for everyone, but working with these artists and helping create this space that you can just come and immerse in.
Hmm.
We have an open door policy. This is a safe space at the mill. You can
Right.
come in. You've been to the studio. It's Grand Central Terminal. In and out and you're welcome. Whoever you are, we'll sit and talk. Until you're ready to move on. And it's just, I wish everybody had a place like this
Yes. That
to
would be
go and
great.
just for kids to hang out. And
Mm.
it's amazing what the Hudsons have done here, the city of Huntsville, and Marcia Freeland, the executive director, and then all the artists. We don't
Hmm.
have all the same views,
No,
um,
that's right.
but we all get along, and it's a beautiful place to be.
It's a model, right? It's not because you
Yes.
have to get it's a very it's not a homogeneous society. It's not, everyone's not the same. I mean, clearly you see this just walking around the mill. You clearly, with your own eyes, can see that people are different just by the art that they produce. Hey, I want to talk to you about two things that will sound like they're the same, but I promise you they're different topics. MAGA and Epstein on the one hand, and horse shit on the other. And I guarantee you these are two different topics. I'm
That
curious about
sounds.
to timestamp this. We're recording on Tuesday this week, July 15th. And as we speak, it appears that MAGA, and in part, like, I'm glad, like, finally there's a line that they won't cross, and that's sex with girls who are not of age, of age of consent. I hate the expression underage girls because they're not underage; they're the age they are. What they are not is old enough to consent to sexual activity with men who are much older than them. Legally speaking, we have laws in place to protect children. They're all arbitrary. Some places it's 16, some places it's 18, some places whatever it is, you don't go under that. Unless you yourself are a 15-year-old, right? Like, this is just like, clearly there's a
Right.
huge problem. And then I don't know what's in the Epstein files, and I don't like conspiracy theories, but what I do like about this topic is that there is no way that we're going to get really to the bottom of all of this. Like, there's going to be, unknowns for the rest, and we're going to be talking about this. Our grandchildren will be talking about this if we have any. Uh, but it appears that MAGA is now turning on Donald Trump over this, over the possibility that there may be some connection somewhere. And I'm not going to go out on a limb and make a statement like that. I'm just observing that someone like Steve Bannon, for instance, and now I'm going to have to go take a shower mentioning Steve Bannon
Oh,
and Trump and
yes. Oh,
Epstein in the
dirty.
same podcast. Ugh,
Mm.
Steve Bannon saying, I think I saw that earlier this morning, saying that they could lose over 40 seats in the House just because of that. Um, and I'm like, only 40? Like, please lose more than that. But
More than 40.
so my question to you, I mean, I'm sure we think, like, clearly, closely enough on this, but, like, what are you hearing? Like, even in Alabama, which is a very Trump state, like Huntsville
Mm.
less so, but Alabama really is Trump. Like, are people talking about this? Do you hear grumblings about that, or not even? You want to stay clean, and he's like, I don't want to go
Not
there. I don't want to
no,
touch
like
this.
you don't hear anything like on the national news. Uh,
Mm.
there's not an Epstein list now. It's Pam
Right.
Bondi says it's not there, so
The
it's
one
not
that she
there.
said
But
was on her desk is not.
that
Yeah, it was
it
on
was
her
never
desk in
on her desk.
February,
It
but now
was,
it's now it doesn't exist. Okay,
and that was a
got it.
campaign promise that they were
Mm-hmm.
going to open
Mm-hmm.
those up. The
Mm-hmm.
Epstein files and the JFK, and the Martin Luther King, like all these things that have happened that have a lot of conspiracy backspin on them. They were going to make it transparent
Right.
to the public. And I guess as we have sorted through these files, we've decided, uh-oh, we better
Whoops.
not
Right.
release these, because if you Google, and not everything that you Google is factual, but you can see enough photos of Jeffrey Epstein and figureheads of Europe, with figureheads currently of the United States, and it's, I think, pretty factual that they rubbed elbows,
Mm-hmm.
um, at
Yeah.
least.
Yeah. That doesn't mean like all these people are guilty of anything. Like nobody's guilty of anything until proven otherwise. I believe in that for
Right, right,
real,
right. But
including here. But there's a lot of pictures.
there's a lot of pictures, and when you run in such circles,
I know.
I mean, I
There's
guess you are,
yeah.
the company you keep. There's a saying about that.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
I don't know. I would
Right.
love to
So it's
know.
yeah, it's interesting to see how this whole positioning and like yeah, and Elon Musk having started that like a couple of weeks ago, the first time they broke up. This is feels like the United States of America, the soap opera. But clearly, yes. Mm. Anyway, it's
Yes.
entertaining if nothing else. So Horseshit is about the city of Ottawa. This is what I'm working about. I'm working on, sorry, this week for my column in the Ottawa Citizen. So you get a little sneak preview of it. But
Dun dun
there was a news
dun.
story a few days ago. We've started introducing horses to our police forces, not just for crowd control, but as part of the regular patrolling to have a couple of officers on big Clydesdales, and these are beautiful horses. And so now they're in training, getting the horses acquainted with different areas in the city, and everyone to get used to the idea that, yeah, some of the patrols are going to be on horseback. And the one thing they haven't really thought through is what to do with what inevitably comes out of a horse. And so people are complaining, writing to, calling their counselor, calling the city, saying, there's
Yes.
manure on my sidewalk. Like, I don't like this. Understandably, and the city's first, like the original response to that news story was to not really comment on this, saying that they're kind of working on it. And like, what do you mean you're working on it? You allowed horses on the street and you didn't think of how to deal with the shit that they produce because they're big, huge animals. And, and so anyway, so I'm working on that and trying to
Yes.
I'm having a great deal of fun asking the Ottawa Police Service for their official policy on horse shit. But I was told there's a couple of cities, like in the United States, you have a number of cities that have
Yes.
horse
New
mounted police.
Orleans.
New Orleans is a big one, so I've asked them. I hope they will answer me. I've asked them for their wisdom, or like tips or try like how do you guys
Oh,
handle this? Like, can you help us because we're struggling here,
right. I
and
mean, we have a lot of horse shit in America for sure.
right.
On multiple levels. But take a page out of Macy's
Uh,
playbook.
uh-huh.
With their parades, there's a lot of horses in them, and
Right.
somebody has to come behind the horses. I mean, it's
Right.
it's as simple as that. It's who's going to clean it up. What is the
Right.
process? I think in New Orleans, they have somebody that comes down Bourbon Street because you've got all the mounted police
Right. And
along the streets for
mhm,
crowd control,
that's
and
right.
somebody has to come and clean it up.
And it can't be the cop. Like the person that's riding that horse cannot get down to
It's
scoop
not
out. I
getting
mean,
off.
it's not
Right,
safe, right?
right.
It's not because the horse is not controlled or under supervision, and
It
who
is a
knows what may
separate
happen, right? So
entity,
I
right?
get it.
And
It's
just like,
not the co-
in Central Park in New York, they used to do the carriage rides. I think they've stopped that now
Mhm.
because of animal cruelty in the heat, but
Mm.
Yeah, maybe in horses like that they had a some kind of catch bin behind them, but
If you exactly, if you have a carriage behind, I know in Quebec City we do have that for tourists. So there's some kind of like a tarp behind it, and so. But if there's no carriage to hold it, you can't make the
you
horse
can't.
hold a
Right,
diaper because that's not
right.
okay
It's
because it
not going to
impedes their
work.
mobility, right? So the whole
Right.
like operational issues I understand, and so one city is South Charleston, South Carolina. Apparently uses the officers uses a little thing with I think it's an app. I don't know exactly how it works, but there's a GPS thing. And so when they
Hmm.
realize, oh, something happened, need to
Uh-huh.
clean, ping it,
Drop a
and it
pin.
stands right, drop a pin here. We need to clean up right here,
Aisle
and then
three.
this little crew comes along, and the golf cart or some other like it doesn't matter how they come along, and they just like da 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 go and clean up, and it takes a few minutes, and it's pretty efficient, pretty time wise, but it's also not especially expensive, and then it doesn't force some poor guy to walk behind the horses with a bucket, right? So they can sit in the shade and wait for a ping. And I'm calling this a horseshit Uber.
I mean that sounds accurate.
Right? Right? Yeah. Unfortunately, the newspapers don't let us use expressions like that. So that's why I'm talking to you about it, so I can get
Right.
it out there. But
Get
I
it
do
out
think
there.
it's
Absolutely.
a great concept. So I'm using that example and asking the city of Ottawa for official comments on horseshit Uber. And so I'm having a lot of fun.
I bet you are. I would that would be a great one to it's just kind of pressing the boundary there, which I'm
Yeah,
all
well,
about.
exactly. See, I thought of you, and but it's a real legitimate concern. You don't want
Right.
like who wants to have that on
Well,
their sidewalk?
and who initiated this and didn't think that there was going to be a byproduct of horses, like we didn't think this
That
through.
that is my ultimate question. I know they
Right.
won't
I
answer that
think
one.
are
Like
we
we just
rubbing
didn't
off on
think of
y'all up
that.
there? Right. Like
Yeah,
just do it, just do it and we'll figure it out later. I think that's how
yeah.
we roll down here in the States.
All you're doing is just like we have enough smart people we employ and pay a good salary. Like nobody thought of that. Oh well.
Right. Like, yeah.
But anyway, if we can find a solution, including one that uses GPS or some other, like I'm open, anything that works that doesn't cost a fortune and lets the police do their work on horseback, as apparently they think it's a good idea, and this was approved by the city. Like we think it's a good idea. Well, let's do it, but let's not half-ass this thing. Like let's think the whole thing from end to end, so to speak.
Right.
And anyway, so that's what I'm working on this week, and it's never a dull moment around here.
Ever, ever, ever.
So what else are you up to looking forward to this week?
Oh, we're pretty lucky. We're working on the big vacation trip
Uh-huh.
in
Yes.
September, so we're plotting and planning that away. So that's kind of exciting. I think we still have 10 days to plot the course. So,
Mm-hmm.
every night we work on that a little bit. So that's very exciting. And you know me, I just take it as it comes.
Yeah, one day at a
We
time. I should stop
one day
asking
at a
you this
time.
question then, because you
Right,
really
like if
get
I
same
have
mindset.
something like it'll be like, oh, but this the installation and helping the artist yesterday was the biggest thing on my plate this week. And I was nasty, nasty, nasty. We were up here in work clothes and it's on the third floor of the mill and it was
Oh, and it's
hot. And I
hot.
was like,
Yeah.
you do not want me on camera at the end of this day, I promise. So thank you for being gracious and
Of
rescheduling
course.
our
Yes.
it
We'll
was a
get
great
together.
help. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes, yes. And they got to get this finished and walk away from it. So now they
Good.
can take the day off today and then they'll
Right.
open up on Wednesday. So big excitement.
Good. Excellent. So yeah, it's unfortunate that I won't see it before it's done, but I'll take your pictures and I'll post them for everyone to see. And if you're in
Yes.
Huntsville starting tomorrow, go
Stop
have a look
by
at this exhibition. Yeah. And just enjoy the mill because it's one of
and
my
be.
favorite places in the whole wide world.
Yes. I
All
don't
right.
know what I would do if I could not come here every day.
Right.
It's
No,
just,
yeah.
it's amazing.
Every time I'm down in Huntsville, I make time to go to the mill. It's just like it's
Absolutely.
like almost like a religion. And anyway, so next week I'll be talking to you from the Toronto area as I'm taking the kids on some little vacation.
Nice,
We're going
nice.
to yeah, I told you about this amusement park. So the big news is that oh, what's it called? The Alpine Fury. I think they have a new ride, and
The
we
new
weren't
roller
sure if it was
coaster.
going to. Yeah, and it is open. It opened on the weekend, and so I don't want to be the first one in line to try a new ride. I'm not that
Fair,
crazy. I'd
fair.
want to let other people just you know work out the kinks. And
Right.
by the time we show up, it will be all nice and smooth.
You don't want to beta test the horse shit, right?
I am
Like
exactly. That's a great title for our autobiography. Don't
that's right.
don't beta
Don't
test the
beta
horse
test
shit.
horse shit.
I think we should trademark that one before
I think
someone
so.
steals it from
Give
us.
us a t-shirt, right?
All right. That's a great idea. All right. Well, I'll
Right.
talk to you later then.
Have a wonderful week.
Thanks.
Bye
Bye.
bye.